Welcome to Studio A. Our guest today is Mr. Samuel Young II, Director of the Group Scholars Program, Bloomington, Indiana. This is part 2 of our interview. Sam, thank you for staying over so that we could finish up talking.
No problem.
Let's talk about, we talked about how faith informs your life.
Yes.
You told me God is real, that you know He's real because what He's done in your life. Let's talk about your faith and where you learned it from. You learned it from your grandfather, but your mother. Let's talk about your mama.
Ora Dean Young. Ora Dean. From Philadelphia, Mississippi.
I love it.
Yes. 90, celebrated her 90th birthday, August 4.
Wonderful.
So still kicking and still around. The funny thing was she married later and met my father after he had his original wife passed away.
His first wife.
First wife, and so we that's funny and how everything works. They were all in the same church.
Really?
Yeah. So they didn't think they could have children, so they started adopting. They adopted my older brother Larry and my another brother George, and then all of a sudden I come along.
Really?
In '69, yeah. So, and then adopted my two younger sisters. Matter of fact, my youngest sister and I are 14 years apart. I was in college when she told me she was going to adopt her, and I was
My
like,
goodness.
everybody's out of the house. So she said, this is what God has
Told her to do.
Yeah.
Your mother is a woman of faith.
Oh, absolutely. A strong faith. She, for over 30 years, she has led a prayer line, phone line ministry in her church and within this community. So she has been one who has been one of the prayer warriors of Fort Wayne. And so we were in Illinois, and she was a foster parent for 26 years throughout Illinois and Impdiana when we moved. And she's kept over 200 children.
200 children.
In that time. So it's, impactful.
That's got to be God.
And it is.
And
so,
her love of children.
Love of children, because that's what she believed God was telling her to do.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked her, when she was telling me I'm going to adopt my sister, and I said, why? Everybody's out of the house. It's now you. You can go do whatever. She was like, this is what God told me to do.
This is what God told me to do.
And so that was really...
Your mom was obedient to the Lord.
Very, very obedient. Very obedient. Yes. In the community, anybody that called her mama was getting calls when anybody needed a job, anybody needed, I'm about to go do this, I'm about to go do that, pray for me. So there was always a prayer from my mom. Still, my children, my son was playing at Savannah State. He called his grandnana yesterday before he got on the bus to go to Savannah State. Pray for me, I'm about to go play football. And that's a typical thing that he does. My daughter does it.
Because they know.
Yeah.
He and Naomi know, Samuel and Naomi know how strong your mother's faith is, their grandmother's faith is.
And it's the foundation of our whole entire family.
Okay.
So I think, in everybody's way, everybody in the Young's family has that foundation and understands the importance of faith, faith in God, and how it impacts your life and your family. So that
there's no separation for you. It's all one thing.
No,
God is in everything.
Right. When you're sick, we pray. When you're upset and you're lost, we pray, and we use the tools like counselors and therapists because God put them there. So it's all of that together. We make moves because we have devotion and pray as a family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your mama, and what is the greatest lesson that your mom has taught you, Sam, besides faith?
See, and it can't be, you can. The funny thing was, my mother didn't go to high school, didn't graduate from high school. She was legally blind, and for her to continue to tell us my family that you can do anything you want to do if you believe God is directing you that path.
Okay.
So when you know, she just wanted to make sure that you were okay. You're in a smart place. Think about why you're doing the decisions that you're making. So that was the impact.
Okay.
That was the biggest impact.
Okay.
When we got sick in Bloomington, we called. When we were scared about a test, we called. So everything was family and faith was very important in how we moved. And even when we didn't do what we were supposed to do, it was a lesson in that. And and that helped us understand forgiveness and acceptance and continued growth. And so everything that my mother continually teaches us, it's not a day that she talks about something that has or will happen. You know, we keep telling her, Mom, we need you around here. She's like, I'm being here as long as God tells me to be here.
Yeah.
And so that's the greatest thing about, you know, our family and our faith. So, you know, I am a mama's boy, and I'm a proud mama's boy. Of
course.
So I think, you know, even the decision to leave, to move to Bloomington or move to Missouri or was very impactful. Was important about family.
You sought out her counsel?
I sought out her prayers.
Okay,
prayers. Her prayers, not more than counsel, but prayer, because I think it was more important for the decision was mine.
Yeah.
But it was important that I hear from God on that direction, and even when I make the free choice of direction, I hope that it was a God-led decision.
Yeah.
Right. So. And if you believe that, then that's how you came to that decision.
Yeah. Let's go back to we'll dedicate this show to your mama.
She's a wonderful lady.
So I hope she gets to see this. Hello, Miss Lady. You've got a beautiful son. Anyway, let's talk about where the groups program is going. You as the director, after Mary Stephenson, yes. Stephenson, after
Janice Wiggins,
Mrs. Wiggins, you see the groups program going where in the next 5 years?
So I'm happy to say that IU, under the direction of President Whitten, saw the importance of a group scholars program, and now we have a group scholars program at every regional campus, not just Bloomington, because we know how we support students and help students be retained, matriculate, and graduate. We're doing something right. Our retention and our graduation rates are there.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
This year, we're implementing IU Indianapolis. So Indiana University Indianapolis will come on with a group scholars program. I am not the director of all those schools, those different campuses,
Bloomington.
Just Bloomington.
Okay.
But we work to talk and utilize resources like our recommenders resources. We just recently did a recommenders workshop last week to just inform and train and our recommenders on our new admissions process, how we're working with the admissions office to streamline applications and to review our students' applicants so we can get our cohort. So they are using our recommenders network throughout the state of Indiana, and that's a great thing.
Besides being recommended by a recommender, either a counselor or a community member that works with students,
right?
What are the criteria to be a group student?
Thank you. So to be a group scholar, you first have to have the need. So because we're a need-based program.
So economic need.
Economic need. And then you completed the requirements to be admitted into Indiana University.
Okay.
The 4 years of English, 7 semesters of math, 2 years of foreign language, science, 4 years of science with 2 being a laboratory science. Those are general requirements to go to any university.
Right.
Indiana University is not test option. It's a test optional school, so you don't have to take the SAT. But it works to your benefit if you are looking for scholarships along with outside of the Group Scholars Program. Do not have to take the SAT, which is a great thing.
And that's new.
And most institutions are going that way because of the biases within the exams. But that's a good thing in itself. So the need and the classes are taken. You then apply, and then we review.
Okay.
So we're getting between 750, 800 applications.
Oh my goodness.
To create a cohort of 350 to 400 students.
So it's competitive.
It's competitive, but I think how we are preparing our students and through their K-12 experience, those students are high. We have students high achievers even in their high schools, and we still take students who may have had some challenges within their freshman and sophomore years, but they see a strong tick of grades going upward. They are engaged. They are dealing with issues and risks, things that they're overcoming. Because we know when you get to IU Bloomington or any institution, you have to have some grit to stay, to work it out, to grind it out, even to deal with it. And some things we have resources in order to help you stay and stick it out, right?
Yeah.
So that I know when our time at IU Bloomington was not always rosy and great all the time.
Yeah.
But we stuck it out, right?
With people like the Wigginses, Mr. and Mrs. Wiggins, with
Dr.
people like
Mumford.
Dr. James E. Mumford.
Yes.
With people like, Dr. Maltzby, Dr. Burnham.
Yes. Those are great.
Dr. Fred McElroy.
Oh my goodness, yes. Those are the people that we leaned on. And I hope to be one of those people now that students are now leaning on me when they have challenges to help them talk it out. I'm not going to give them the answer, but giving them options to make decisions so they can still stay is what we want to always try to accomplish.
Let's talk about young people and social media. That is the gravest difference between when you were there, when I was there, and now.
Right.
How has social media affected young people in the collegiate environment?
I think it's given them different options of how they learn and receive educational opportunities, right? So we look at social media and we may see all they're doing is tickety-talks and all these short things, right? But they see it as educational opportunities, how to utilize AI. If AI is artificial intelligence is something that they can use, because they start having that discussion with their instructor, with their professors, and some professors accept it and appreciate it, some don't, and they recognize how to start that conversation. But even information in itself, we are in a social media age where they don't look at regular news anymore. They get it from Instagram, from Snapchat, from
Facebook.
Yeah, that's the old people's book now.
Oh, okay.
But,
I'm old.
We're old, and we
old.
accept that and appreciate that. But they are very much Instagram. A flyer used to be.
What do you think about that?
Being old?
I mean, no, not being old, Sam. What do you think about young people, where they get their news and information from?
Well, I just challenge them to make sure it's correct information.
Okay.
Because, with news and information coming from all these different resources,
how do you know it's factual?
How do you know it's factual?
Yeah.
And, as an alpha, see, I told you I'd get there. As an alpha, when we do the Voteless People, Hopeless People movement, and just wanting to make sure students are registered, we're very impartial. We want to make sure that they're registered so they can vote.
Registered to vote.
Registered to vote and then vote.
Yeah, actually.
And so we're not telling them to vote for one party or the other party. We want them to make educational decisions for themselves and how impactful it is for them.
And again, you just simply want them to vote.
Yes.
You brought it up. Let's talk about it. You're an alpha man.
I am.
The black and the old gold.
A black and old gold, spring 1989. Gamma Eta, glorious Gamma Eta chapter. Yes.
Your brother is an alpha man.
Oh, bless his heart. Yes, he is. From 1984. Good Lord.
Mr. I cannot believe his name is escaping me right
John
now.
Key.
John Key is an alpha man.
Carlton Mabel.
Yep.
Carl Malone.
Yeah.
These are all Fort Wayne finest. Terry Muff. Darren Nichols. And yeah.
I didn't know Darren was an alpha man too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's
Yes.
so funny.
Yes.
That's so funny. Homegrown.
Homegrown Fort Wayne.
Homegrown Fort Wayne.
Yep.
And of course, the lovely Gerald White.
My friend, my cousin.
The lovely Gerald White is an alpha man. Nice men.
Yeah.
All nice men. All
Yes.
lovely men.
Yes.
Why is your fraternity important to you?
Well, I still believe my reason for joining was to join like-minded men that appreciated culture and appreciate the historical movement of of African Americans. And I think in order for us to continue to develop young men to be young men in their community, to move and to be nurtured, we have to, that's what Alpha Phi Alpha is all about.
Can you do that without being Greek?
Absolutely. I just think for me, the opportunity to also do other things along with that, to have the support when my children were sick, or when I'm going to another, in my travels, the first person that I reached out to was an alpha man that helped me get adjusted in Missouri.
Really?
Oh yeah. They gave me the name when they knew I was moving to Missouri. Before I think I was moving to Missouri, I think I put it on the Facebook.
Okay.
And then they reached out. Hey, I know so and so. You need to touch base with him.
And you knew he'd be a like-minded soul.
Absolutely, knowing that he would help me, and actually got me, situated in Columbia, Missouri. The same thing when I went back to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. One of the first folks was an alpha that took me around and said, hey, these are the places that you should be connected to. Most of them had grassroots organizations of community. And so it just sparked my interest, and then I happened to be an advisor to one of those groups that was in my residence halls that was connected to that same group.
Okay.
So it's just all over. When you come back and you come back home and you see Dr. Walker, and I didn't know Dr. Walker was an alpha.
Really?
From Gamma Eta from the 70s, and I was like, oh my goodness. And you see other people, Pastor Williams, Tim Williams is an alpha. And you're like, oh wow.
And we talked about the lovely Roland Stringfellow as
Roland
an alpha
Stringfellow
man.
is an alpha. I pledged Roland, so I knew he was an alpha. So you just you think about some of the people that you eventually become adults, and you say, oh, they were alphas before they knew me, and they were imparting some support and success for me as I grew up, and then came back to as an alpha. Now we exchange greetings and shake hands as brothers. So
Okay. All right.
yeah, and now that I'm the district director for the state of Indiana.
What does the district director for the state of
my Lord.
Indiana do?
So we are the administrative tool that our region provides for each state to make sure that we are doing the things that we're supposed to do.
Okay.
Being informed of information that's flowing from the general office to the chapters within your district. So just making sure that everybody is informed of all the procedures that we do in regards to intake, in regards to programming, so that we can stay active and involved and informed.
Okay.
For example, we get an initiative such as the Voteless People's Hopeless People. We really are wanting to galvanize that. So we get that message from the general office.
Okay.
And the general office by way of the regional vice president, by way of the district. Now it's giving that information to the chapters to make sure, hey, we have funds, we have micro grants so that you can do programs for voteless people, hopeless people during this season. And so I'm really happy that 6 of our chapters within the District of Indiana received micro grants to put on programming that's going to be impactful in their community, and not just the community, their state and nationwide.
Okay. Let's talk about 1906, is that
1906.
1906. I don't even know why I know that. There's no reason for me to know that.
You hung out with too many alphas at
No,
Indiana University.
actually I didn't.
Okay.
Not the eye roll. So 1906, what is the significance of a black organization that far back?
So you got to just think historically what was going on.
Right.
And how most people, especially in an Ivy League like Cornell, the things that were happening at that time, and to be really supported by the outside community,
Right.
Seeing the benefits of a fraternity, a Greek letter organization on a college campus,
Right.
not just the students, but just the community in a whole. So when they were forming it and developing it, you got to look how were we received at on college campuses in itself.
The hostility.
The hostility.
Right, the racism
you know,
and hostility.
Absolutely. And then when you think about it, it's in the North.
Right.
So better than the South and
Right.
how that was received. And so you just think about all that time and effort being put into something to be developed. It didn't start in 1906. So all of the, we had 3 phases to get to a fraternity. So we, the history of it and then the acknowledgement of who are members of the fraternity
Right.
really, spoke to me.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.,
Right.
Roland Martin, who
Your
people
best
may
friend.
know. He's not my best friend, but I do appreciate what Roland Martin says on
yes.
television because
Right.
he tells it like it is.
Right.
Let's talk about the Divine Nine. So we're including the other fraternities and sororities.
Right.
And this election. How important is that support?
I think you'll see the importance of just getting folks to register and to vote. All the organizations are really pushing that. It's the register to vote, and I think the next step is to make sure that they are voting. Folks are registered to vote, but they have to go to the vote. Students, with the absentee ballot, they didn't know the process of doing the absentee ballot. They're registered to vote, but was I going to vote this election? No. Well, I think the Divine Nine is getting those information to those people, to those communities, so that they can really take the next step.
So they're galvanizing the vote.
Absolutely. They're galvanizing the vote. Now, we're not telling them which way to go,
Right.
But I think just the importance of education so that they can go do the next step and to vote is really important. And I know all of our organizations see this as an importance, not just for the world, but just even more for our community.
The black community.
Correct.
Yeah. We've got 5 minutes, Mr. Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything we haven't touched upon? We've touched upon your faith. We talked about Miss Lady, your mama. We've talked about your beautiful wife. We've talked about your beautiful babies. We've talked about IU and where the organization, the Group Scholars Program is going. Is there anything we've left out that you want to talk about?
I don't know. I don't do these often. So, no, I just think, I appreciate you, having this platform. I think it's just important that we know that, this day and age, you can either be negative and saying the world is going to hell in a handbag, or we have opportunity. And I think, we have to show the opportunities and allow the next generation to utilize all opportunities, not just colleges, the trades, becoming
There are other roads.
avenues.
Yeah.
And I think the state of Indiana is doing a great job of introducing and reintroducing those opportunities, but then not to just one group. And I think it's real important that everyone has all opportunities. I have some great friends who are electricians. One of my best friends, Ryan Raines, is an electrician.
Yeah.
And he knew he wanted to be an electrician
College wasn't for him.
in high school.
Yeah.
So that was his route.
Right.
And I think that's,
And they're just as noble.
and sometimes he makes more money than me. So I know it's profitable.
Yeah.
So I think it's just an opportunity to showcase all the opportunities, and I hope it is being presented to everyone so that every student, every child has that track. Now, I don't think we should focus solely on just trades or just solely on
Academic.
higher education,
Yeah.
because if we do, we're missing out on students.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, Sam, this is it. This is the end of the road, my friend. I want to tell you, it was a joy talking with you.
Thank you.
I am absolutely thrilled. You will never know what it means to me that you drove up here 3 hours
Yes.
just to sit with little old me. I know you're going to visit your mama.
Got to.
I know you will, because you're a good son. But it means the world to me that you came up to talk about your life and who you are, because I think everyone should know who you are. Everybody knows Big Sam. I told Ray Martin, I said, guess who I'm interviewing tomorrow? I'm interviewing Sam. He was like, what? Everybody talks about you in glowing, loving terms, and it's well-deserved because you're a lovely, lovely soul.
I appreciate that.
You're
I
welcome.
want to also do a plug.
Please.
Homecoming is October 18th.
Okay.
We, at the program, we do this thing called Career Connection.
Okay.
So we would love alums of the groups. We have over 13,000 alums.
Okay.
And we would love all alums to come back and play a part in the development of the next generation of group scholars.
Okay.
And we have it on Facebook. You'll have it if you, all my 5,000 friends on Facebook. But if you're not, please share it. The Career Connection allows you to tell how you are sitting in that seat to a student that may want to be you in the next generation. So please make sure October 18th at 11 o'clock. I know it's a Friday afternoon. Get your job to tell you that you got work to do down in Bloomington, and come and talk to the next cohort of group scholars.
Okay. So homecoming is that weekend.
Yes.
Okay. Do they still do the old school reunion?
Well, it's morphed.
It's not a formal.
It's not a formal, not anymore as it was, but the Neil Marshall Alumni Association does.
Okay, the Neil Marshall does. And that is it. Thank you for tuning in for part 2 of my interview with Mr. Samuel Young, the second. It was a joy. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
And you be blessed.